Hello world, and welcome to We the People, an American pod show. Tonight, I have Patty with me, and we're going to be talking about some really cool, interesting things. Right?
Right.
That's the game plan?
That's the game plan.
Okay. So, why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself, Patty?
Well, I have lived around here for a long time. We lived in Alaska, we've lived in Washington, and now we're back in Hillsboro, Oregon.
Hillsboro, Oregon.
Yes, I have 2 children. One is deceased, and I have 2 grandchildren, Brandy and Avea.
Nice. That sounds like pretty cool names, Brandy and Avea.
Yes, very.
So, Alaska. What'd you do in Alaska? What are you doing up there?
My husband, Jim, he works for State Farm, or did. He's retired now, and he transferred there. And actually, Brandy went with us, and she was there to finish 6th grade. And then she went home, and we were there for about 4.5 years.
So, 4.5 years of living in Alaska. Is there igloos everywhere?
No.
There's no igloos?
No.
None at all?
I never seen any.
So what part of Alaska were you in?
Anchorage.
Anchorage.
Yes.
So did you live in Anchorage then?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was very interesting. A lot of wildlife. We always had moose in our yard. We've had coyotes, bear, bunnies. It was very interesting. And
So-
very cold.
And very cold. How cold was the coldest night or coldest time that you remember?
Probably that I remember like 18 below.
It's pretty
And that
cold.
was pretty cold. It was so cold that the moisture in the air came down like little sparkles, like fairy dust.
Really? Like
Yes.
just like in the air in general?
Yes.
Okay, so not when it was
Yes.
snowing, just
It wasn't snowing, it was just sparkles.
so you think it was like the moisture freezing or something?
Yes.
Interesting. Like fairy dust.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of cool. So Anchorage is like it's a city, right?
Yes.
Is it pretty big?
Yes, it's really big.
Like
A
how many
big
people do
city.
you think?
I think there was only like, if I remember right, like 28,000
28,000.
in Anchorage.
Like 10,000? 250,000? Folks, you heard it. Roughly 250,000 people living in Anchorage, Alaska. That's what they think or
Yes.
say. That's quite a bit. That's a lot of people, especially way up there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, from my understanding, it was a boom town.
Probably at one time.
Yeah, it was because of the gold rush.
Yes.
It just kind of blew up, and everybody ran up there to go get wealthy.
A lot of people go there to retire.
Now, right?
Yeah, now.
I don't know if it would have been a wise choice back in the day.
Yeah, no, not back then.
No.
But nowadays, yeah, it's very, like, Anchorage is like Portland almost.
Right, like as far as like the, just like
I
the
mean,
feel
there's
of
a
it?
lot of trees and, like you're living in the country
Right,
but there's also a lot of big buildings and shopping malls, downtown Anchorage,
right.
that sort of stuff, yes.
I imagine like everything freezes over then at 16 below.
Yeah.
So something that's worth speaking about, I think, would be the car situation. How does the car work when you're up there?
Garages are usually heated or you plug them in.
So like when you go to the grocery store, you plug in your car,
Yes.
so the oil don't freeze,
So nothing freezes.
so nothing freezes.
Yeah, so nothing freezes.
So I also spent some time up there, and I had heard that you had to have gloves on when you pumped your gas when it's that cold, because apparently the gas, if it touched your skin and it's that cold, could like actually cause damage to your skin.
I didn't hear that, but yeah, possibly.
Makes
Yes.
sense. Sounds like it. So okay. Something else that I know that we haven't talked about yet that I think would be interesting to discuss is your animal situation. You've spent some time hanging out with animals in your lifetime.
Yes, I've raised bobcats. I did that for about 15 years.
Now, was this a cat named Bob, or was
No,
this like an
this was
actual
a
bobcat?
lynx.
Lynx.
Lynx,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes, we had Siberian lynx, and then we had lynx, which is the North American bobcat.
Patty, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you keep bumping your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sometimes hearing it rustle. Try sliding it a little higher up your shirt.
We'll get it right.
Is this better?
That's much better. Go ahead and ask her the question again so she can start her answer.
Okay. I don't remember what I was asking her. I think we were talking about lynx or bobcats or something like that. It's not a big deal. We'll keep it moving. So, when you're raising a bobcat or a lynx, how does that look like at your house? I mean, is it
We had big runs for them.
okay? So, like kind of like how you'd like a dog run.
Yeah, only bigger, and they had
Is it like
a
cable?
roof on them, cyclone fencing.
Okay.
They had stuff to climb on. They were all litter box trained, so we had like big areas that they could use.
I think everybody's wondering, do you ever get bit?
Oh yes, many times, many times.
They scrap? Are they scrappy?
We had them declawed, so
Okay.
yeah, but
So you rip their toes off?
no, well, they're claws.
Claws.
They're claws. Yes.
That one's for you,
Yes.
Brandy.
And yeah, Brandy was raised with
Hanging out with them.
hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what were their? So did you name them?
Yes, we had Macho was the male bobcat, and Misha was his mate.
Okay.
And then we had Ruka, which was a Siberian lynx, and Nakaya was his mate. And then we
Gotcha.
had Dusty, which he was just a friend to Nakaya.
So 5 total.
Yes.
Quite a bit. And you had all 5 of them at the same time, or at like different times?
No, all at the same time. Yes.
Did they fight with each other then? I would imagine, or no?
No, the lynx, the bobcats were in separate pens, and the Siberian lynx were in separate pens.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yes.
So 3 in one, and then 2 in the other one.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I imagine a lot of food. They're eating a lot of food.
We fed them turkey drumsticks and necks. And then sometimes if we got it, it would be venison or elk meat.
Nice. So like fresh game.
Yes.
So when you fed them, was it like, here kitty, 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 or was it like,
No,
kitty, kitty?
they each had their own bowl.
Oh, okay.
And
So you take the bowls, put the food.
Yeah.
That seems more
Like
realistic.
you'd be feeding the family dog.
Right.
These were hand-raised, bottle-fed, so they were used to people from the time they were 2 weeks old.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So the attacks were not vicious.
No. No.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know that around your household there was one of the cats like attacked Jim, right? Is that okay to say? The cat attacked Jim, right?
Oh, that
Or no?
was, he had a black leopard,
Okay.
and he went to put it back in its kennel, and yeah, it got him
Yeah.
along the face.
And would you say were you there for that or?
Yes, I
Yeah.
saw it happen, yes. And he had to go to the emergency, and I don't know how many stitches he had.
Oh,
but
so it was like serious.
they had to call in a plastic surgeon to do it.
It was serious. It was not messing around, not playing.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And that was a leopard, you said?
Black leopard, yes.
A black leopard.
Yeah, he had servals, and then a cougar, and 2 black leopards.
Servals. Those are like, is that the one that's like has the big long legs? a
Long
little
legs, they're gold with black spots and
Okay.
big ears, and they're probably about that high.
Longer? So like a little, it kind of has like a cheetah pattern, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like
they'd call him
the
the
littler.
poor man cheetah
The poor
because they
man.
were small. Yeah.
Totally, the poor man's cheetah. I like it. I guess I could see that though, because a cheetah, I mean, the meat, just dealing with it. I mean, it's got to be you. I'm guessing you're cleaning the cage
Yes.
every other day, probably. and-
Yes.
Yeah. And they spray too? Do they spray?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, it's horrible. I could imagine.
Yeah. And male and female.
So were they weird for like when other people would come around? Would they get like weird and start acting kind of suspicious? And you're like, oh,
They
hold
would
up.
probably be like a dog, and they would be sniffing you, to see who you are and see if they smelled fear. And if they
Really?
did, of any nervous or fear, yeah, they would nip you. And just to see if they could get a reaction.
Like, hey, pansy.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Keep you in check. That's funny.
So you kind of had to watch them when other people came around.
Right, yeah. And how long did you have them for?
A long, long time. We had to find them new homes when we moved to Alaska because we wouldn't have been allowed to take them through the Canadian border or anything. So we had to find
Right.
them new homes. But they were probably 15, 17 years old when we went to Alaska. So they were up there.
Right, and so I imagine that like every state has its own laws on it, right?
Probably, yeah.
So
I don't think now in Oregon you're allowed to have them.
Oh, at all.
I don't think so.
So
I think they changed that.
So you were kind of a rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the time they were legal when you guys.
Well, yes, we had a business license and license to have them, and we were totally legal. And I actually sold the babies to people for pets.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think we have an intruder. What's up, Megan? It could be. I think it's on me. I think it's on me. I think it was touching my tie. Is that better, Brandy?
Yeah. Keep an eye on it. I just wanted to see if there's anything in the room that might be causing it.
Sorry, folks. We had a little bit of technical difficulties here. Nothing we can't handle, though. It's good old Americans. We got this. Keep it moving forward, right? So, okay. So then let's shift a little bit. Let's go. One time, I remember you and I we were sitting, we're chatting, we're talking, and we were discussing communication. And I thought this was the coolest thing because I'd always had like these ideas of how I thought communication might have been, like when it started, when we're talking about like phones. Because I remember like back to pagers and when this phone idea was crazy and would lead us to cancer. And maybe it does. We don't know yet, right? It's
We
too
don't
soon
know
to
for
tell.
sure yet.
Too soon to tell. But you were mentioning that you recalled a party line, right? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Tell me about the party line.
That was when I was a kid. And yes, we would have a party line, and you'd just pick up the receiver, and the operator would say, "Number, please," and you'd give them the number.
Okay.
And you'd be talking on the phone, and you'd usually have a 3-party line, and people would want to use the phone, and they'd pick up and they'd hear you talking, and sometimes they'd say, "I have an emergency. Could you get off the line?"
So when you say 3-party, are you meaning like 3 different phones inside your house?
No, neighbors.
Okay, so
3 different households
would
to
have,
one line.
Would have one. Okay, so
Yeah.
so on a block you might have like 3 or 4 party lines.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it became rotary phones.
Which was the ones that now we see the videos where like people are messing with their kids when they're like, "Show me how this works."
Oh yeah, and they don't know
They
how.
don't know.
Yeah. Then we went to rodeo phone, but then we went. Everybody had their own line.
Was that when rotary phones came?
Yeah, I think I was probably in high school. I don't know, maybe junior high school when we got that.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you recall like talking on the phone with your like boyfriend for like
Yeah.
hours?
Yeah.
And I remember like a little bit about like the rotary phone thing was that if there was 2 or 3 phone lines in the house, then somebody in the house could like,
Listen in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, like-
Yes.
"Ooh, you're in trouble." That's what I remember.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
sounds like good times, especially knowing now what we have. And this is only going to speed up, right? I imagine this is going to get a lot quicker and faster, and communication is going to get even
Yeah, because I
quicker.
know a lot of people don't even have land phones anymore. They just have their cell phones.
Right. Yeah. I recall the pager situation too, when like you get a page and then you'd have to put in your phone card in the phone, and then you could get through. Or
I
you-
worked for Seiko, and they invented the pager watch.
the pager watch.
Yes.
Sounds like
And
next level.
so everybody in my family, including Brandy, she came and built her own. It was a grandma day at work.
Right.
And so she came to work with me, and she built her own pager watch.
Pager watch.
Yes, and so if you wanted to get a hold of me, you would dial in my pager number,
Okay.
and then in the screen of the watch, it would show your name and your number, and then I was to call you.
Wait. So one more time. So your watch, I could punch in something, send it, you would see it. So it was like a text.
Yeah, yeah. And it also gave you the Trailblazers score. It gave you lottery numbers. It had a thing where you could just say call home or come home.
What?
Yeah,
Is this after pager or before pager, or around the same time as pager?
around the same time as pagers. It was put out by Seiko.
See, mine was like what was it? 43770. Flip it over, and it was like hello or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you'd have to
Well,
put
it was
codes
also a
and
watch.
encryptions. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
know
a
that
watch.
one.
Yep, and
And that's Seiko, like the watches that are like at Walmart.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah, you can get them all over the place, right? Mm-hmm.
but then they came out with cell phones, so the pager watch went away.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, which was kind of sad.
Can you imagine like how much business like was put into that? Like how much money, how much investment, how much marketing plans, just like
And they just came
all
out with all brand new models that they put a lot of money into, and then it just all went away.
done. Let me write this down. The pager watch.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the whole family had them.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So you guys were like texting before texting was a thing.
Pretty much. I mean, you didn't have a keyboard, where you could actually write a
Right.
message. You had choices like come home, call home.
Oh,
That-
so you could like do a number as like a pre-programmed, and then it would.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of. Well, I was gonna say like kind of like how like some of our text, like you can do pre-programmed text or whatever, and you can send a message. When
Right.
somebody calls you and then it says
Right.
it was like pre-programmed. That's pretty interesting. So now to shift back, just for the sake of shifting back, animals. You also had miniature horses. How did we not talk
Yes.
about miniature horses?
Miniature horses, yes. Dakota and Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dakota and Cody were the only miniature horses that you had.
Right.
Okay. Did you
Yes.
have like regular horses too?
Well, when I was a teenager, yes, I had a quarter horse.
Okay, so which is like a pony, right?
No, it's a big horse.
It's a big horse.
Yeah.
What's quarter stand for? Do we know?
It's just the type of horse they like to use them for cutting cattle and on the ranch
Okay.
type horse. They're pretty stocky and
Dude, that's a lot of work too. A horse.
yes,
Yeah.
Tar. He was black. I had him for a long time,
Yeah.
and I raised a baby raccoon one summer.
A raccoon.
Yes, a baby raccoon.
How did you end up raising a baby
I
raccoon?
found it. I don't know where it came from. It was just over by the chicken shed, and I thought it was a baby kitten at first. And
Right.
here it was this little tiny baby raccoon. I don't know how it even got there.
So did you steal a baby raccoon from its parents?
No, I just got
So it
him
sounds-
and started. I didn't see a mama anywhere,
Right.
and so I just got him and started bottle feeding him and
That was
doing
it.
some research on what I should be
Right.
feeding him and what I should be doing with him. And
How long did you have this raccoon?
I don't know, 2 months, 3 months,
Right.
and then I found a raccoon rescue, and so we took him to or to the rescue center.
Yeah. I feel like you have a farm.
I
That's
have
how, like,
chickens. I don't have really much anymore. I got a few chickens and 2 kitties.
It's like a real world Farmville.
Yeah, yeah, kind
Like a
of.
real world
Yeah,
Farmville. Dude, that game was such a hit.
it
you
was.
ever
I
play
played
that?
that for
Yeah.
years. Oh my gosh, yes.
That was so.
It's still on my
Uh,
computer.
It's still out there.
Yeah, I can click on it. Yes.
It was big. Like, it was big. Whoever, and you bought stuff on that, right?
Yes,
People
and
can
my
buy stuff.
niece, every year for Christmas and my birthday and Mother's Day, she sent me a Farmville gift card so I could buy even more stuff.
It was that
Is that
serious.
funny?
It was that serious. Like, I
Yeah.
remember my mom playing it, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You're stuck in Farmville? She's like, yes, Farmville. It's
Yeah.
happening.
And then they
Great.
came out with Farmville 2. And oh my gosh, yes.
They have a lot of, like, games like that now. Like, all these app games are all that way. And that was like the early model, though.
Now they
feel like-
have, what's it called? I can't remember the person's name, but it's something garden, and this girl goes to her grandmother's house, and it's just a total wreck, everything. And then you have to win something to get points
Right.
to help her fix everything up.
This sounds like a Bea's life.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. Oh, Bea. Bea's a rock star. I want to get her on here, but I want to, like, ask her questions about like school and, like, dive into, like, her political view, because she's so little that, like, her opinion, it's interesting to understand where her opinion has came from.
And
you
she's
know?
got some really good ideas.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
I'm telling you. And to get her, like, not afraid of these things, you camera, I see you, I think it's good for her. I mean, but she does it, right? Because she's like, what is this, selfie world? Or even talking, vlogging. Like, she's growing up in that. So she's
Yeah, she should be
fine.
good at it, right?
Yeah, she's fine, and I think she would be really good at it. I think once she got past the initial stage, like I was saying, when we first kick on and everything goes live, right? It's like there's like this moment. It's like, how do we find our voice? Where do we get this communication going?
Exactly, yes.
But yeah, that's interesting to think. So how long have you been in Oregon then? One more time.
This time, 10 years.
But you were born and raised in?
Yeah, Toledo, Oregon, down at the coast.
That's like,
It's by Florence, if you know where Florence is.
no, is this like southern Oregon on the coast?
Is that southern? Yes.
Yeah. So, like, I think what's out there, like Coos Bay, isn't Newport out that way?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know the geography.
I don't know.
I know some of it.
My dad
I
worked
see.
for the paper mill there back when.
Yeah, the paper mill. I feel like the newspapers, it's
Kinda
still
old-
out
yeah,
there.
Yeah, it's still out there,
Hanging
but
on.
just
No.
barely.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll always be like the nostalgia of it.
They say you
Kinda
can
like
just
records.
read it online. So why buy it?
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, with the tablets, the way that they can, I mean, I remember early on it was like your eyes would hurt if you did that. But now I don't feel that way. But then again, I don't read all the time on the tablet.
I do coloring.
Do you? You color on the tablet? So, okay. Another interesting thing, too, that I like to discuss is business. So how has your business career been?
Let's see. I worked for Tektronix for 25 years.
Tektronix. What does Tektronix do?
They build oscilloscopes
A wh-
and
a what?
heart monitor. Oscilloscopes. They use them on
Oscilloscope?
spaceships, submarines.
Did you make those?
Yes. And then they also did heart monitors, a lot of medicals in the medical field,
Right.
monitors of different kinds.
So you're saving lives.
Yes.
For
but
20, how
they've
many
kind of went away too.
20 how many years? I mean,
25 years I worked
25
there.
years.
Yeah. Before that, I worked for Sawyer's. Do you know the Accelis or the? Now I can't think of what ViewMaster. Do you know what a
Nope.
ViewMaster
what's
is?
a Viewmaster?
Oh, it's a little thing with a little clicker, and you put a reel in there of pictures, and you click
Oh yeah.
and
yeah.
look. Yeah, we used, and then we made slide projectors, and we made those, and
Really?
we made slides. Yes, I worked for them right out of high school.
You made the slides themselves?
Yep, they had a department
Okay.
that set up like Beauty and the Beast or Prince and Cinderella or something like that, and then they would do a whole reel, like a movie reel,
Right.
of this scene, and then they would give the reels to us, and we'd run them through a machine and click them, and then we'd put them in the little frames for the
Interesting.
yeah.
I remember using those as a young lad. That little
Yeah,
and it
ViewMaster.
would like turn it.
I think they still make those.
Yeah, those were a hit. Yeah.
Yeah, they were red.
Yeah, those were
Yep.
a hit. Yeah.
And then Tektronix, and then I worked for a temp service for a while, different jobs,
Right.
and then I worked for Costco in Alaska.
I was going to say, what'd you do in Alaska?
I worked for Costco and Fred Meyer's.
How was working at Costco?
It was okay. I loaded groceries in a cart. I would go out and get the shopping carts.
16 below.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out in the parking lot.
Did everybody get their turn?
Just us people that loaded carts from
So
the
all
checkout.
day you would be chasing down carts. Was there a lot of you chasing down carts?
No, they'd send like me and one other person out.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then
Couldn't share the love with the whole the whole checks.
it
all the
got
checks.
cold, and I mean I had ski clothes on. I mean, a lot of clothes, and it still got cold.
Do you have like a ninja mask?
Yes,
Yeah.
you had to because you
Yeah.
couldn't breathe that air; it would freeze your lungs.
Yeah.
And so then finally they put me in security, which was better.
Okay. So then you were pulling security. Did you ever catch anybody?
Yeah, I caught a guy that was trying to shoplift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tackle him?
And no, I just told him. I said, you didn't get that checked off your list. You need to go back and have them ring that up. And so I watched him, and he did.
He
He
did
went
it?
back. Yeah.
He bought it.
Yes.
Tried to steal
And
it.
then another guy, he said, "Oh well, I'm just going to take this out to my car, and then I'll come back and pay for it." How stupid do they think people are? So no, you aren't going to do
Nice
that.
try, buddy.
Yeah.
Nice try. Yeah, Costco's they got a pretty good business model there with their hot dogs. It seems like they're capitalizing.
Yes, that
Yeah.
place is always packed.
Right.
I don't care what Costco you go to, they're packed.
Those hot dogs. Yeah, they're like what, $2 or something like that.
$1 something, and you get a
Right.
hot dog and a pop.
Right.
Yeah,
$1.50 for a drink and a hot dog.
you can't beat that.
Damn Costco. And it's because they sell all that bulk. They have
Yeah.
everything in bulk. Yeah. You can go there and just get like one case of toilet paper and you're set for a year. It's crazy.
Not quite, but almost, almost.
Our house, at our house we don't wipe our ass. That's so horrible. Sometimes you gotta take them where they come, the punchlines.
That's true.
That's true. That they don't wipe their ass. Anyhow, moving on. So then, okay, you're in Alaska, pushing shopping carts in the snow, 16 below. If you don't mind me asking, how much was Costco paying you to do that?
$10.50.
$10.50. That's ballin' here. How long ago was this?
Oh my gosh, 15 years ago?
Mm.
Because we lived in Washington for 5.5 years, and we've lived back in Oregon now for 10. So yeah,
So where were you in 2008
in Washington.
in Washington? Is that when our last depression was? It wasn't a depression though. It was a recession. Our last
Oh,
recession.
when the stock market crashed.
Yeah.
That was right when we put our house up for sale. And the first people that looked at it wanted it.
Mhm.
And then the stock market crashed. And that's where their money was.
So you guys got like right by.
Well, he had to go to Oregon because he had to show up
Right.
for work.
So you were selling the house,
Yeah, I was there for a
Right.
year and a half by myself.
but you were selling the house right as it was crashing.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
sold the house and then it went down. Was it like that?
No.
Or was it like at the same time?
It crashed, and then the people couldn't buy the house because that's where their money was.
Okay, so then you were stuck with the house.
I was stuck with the house for a year
Okay.
and a half. Yes.
So did you guys lose like everybody else, or you just kind of it was what it was?
We didn't lose, but we didn't get really what we wanted, what we felt it was now worth, because we
Yeah.
did a lot of work outside and inside to that place.
Right.
Yes.
So how about 9/11? Do you recall 9/11?
Yeah, where was I? We had to have been in Hillsboro then. What year was that? I don't remember.
2001.
2000 what?
One.
Oh, well, we were in Alaska.
Yeah, I was in Alaska. Interesting. So let's go back. What are your like oldest, your farthest back memory? What do you recall?
I must have been 4 when my parents bought their first house in Portland,
Okay.
on Hodge, Northeast Hodge, over by Portsmouth Grade School.
Okay.
And they were looking at the house to buy. It was a little teeny house. I thought, to me, at that time, I was so little, I thought it was huge.
Right.
Huge. And I wanted to use the bathroom, and I asked my mom where the bathroom was, and she said, oh, right there. And I opened up the door, and I took a step, and I went tumbling down a flight of stairs into a basement.
At 4.
Yeah, and that was, yeah.
Yeah, my son has a messed up tooth like right in the middle, where he tumbled down the steps when he was younger.
Yeah, it was just a dirt basement.
Yeah, yeah, like the the concrete walls and concrete floor and
This was dirt floor, dirt walls.
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, like that.
Yeah.
Type of basement. Is this house still around?
Last I knew, it's been many, many years, but I did go back to see what it looked like. I was shocked because I thought the front porch was huge and the house was huge. And it was tiny.
Tiny.
Tiny, tiny. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. And then I went to Portsmouth Grade School till I was in the 3rd grade. And then we moved over by Woodlawn Grade School. And we were there for a couple years, and then we moved to Forest Grove.
Yeah. How about your mom? What did your mom do? What'd she do?
During the war, she worked in the shipyard. And
Right down here in Portland?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
My dad and her both worked there during World War II.
Okay.
And then she worked for Haley's for, oh my gosh, 14, 15 years.
Haley's?
Haley's. It was, they put up meat for grocery stores. They canned chili. I don't know what all they did, but she worked for them for years. She was a meat wrapper.
A meat wrapper?
Yeah.
We got the coldest meat in this town. That type of wrapper.
And then she worked for Tektronix.
Really? So did she get you a job at Tektronix then?
No, I was already working there when she went to work there. My sister worked
So you
there.
got her a job at Tektronix?
No, she got her own job there.
Really?
Jim's mom worked at Tech.
Really?
Back then, everybody about you knew at one time or another worked for Tektronix.
So they were
It
like
was huge.
they were like kind of like how Intel or Nike is now. Where it's like-
Sequent is a spinoff from Tech.
what is it?
It's called Sequent. It's a
Hmm.
electronics company. And
What does Tektronix do now? They do the same thing?
you know what? I have no idea what
Right.
they do.
Because they're like a manufacturing.
They
plant
went
then?
from like, oh my gosh, probably 30, 40, some thousand employees down to about 300.
Whoa.
Yeah. The only building now they're running is in Wilsonville.
That's a lot. That's a huge drop.
And they had companies in Germany and
So like hanging on then.
yeah.
Well, but things are different too, right? Like the way that you operate, the way you do business, the way, like it's completely different. You know, I mean, now you can outsource a lot of your manufacturing. You know,
Intel took over.
they grabbed up a lot of those contracts. I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Yeah. Huh. I wonder, like, when things like that happen, I always wonder, like, the shift. You know, it's like, okay, well, where'd leadership go? You know, did any of the leadership get cross-contaminated? Are there people
I
now
believe
at Intel
so.
from Tektronix?
After Howard Vollum passed away,
Mm,
that's when it seemed like tech started kind of going down.
gotcha. So he was a pretty big player?
Oh my gosh, he was a really, really good guy.
Yeah.
And then we just got people in there to me that just seemed like they were greedy. They just
Yeah.
cared about
different.
their own pockets. I worked there for 25 years. I started at $1.72 an hour. When I got laid off after 25 years, I was making $8.75.
In 25 years? Times are different. Times
Yeah.
are different. Yeah. That would be interesting to try to survive off of today. I wonder what the wage is out there now. It's got to be.
Oh,
at
I'm
least
sure it's a
16,
lot more
15,
because
16.
I mean, as soon as I
Not
started
20.
working for a temp agency, right away I got 10 something an hour,
Right.
and I've never ever had to work below that in any other job I've had.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Hillsboro, it's growing. It's getting big.
big,
Yeah.
big, big, big.
There's a lot of developments going on. We have Reed's Crossing over there, which is going to be huge. It's going to be a lot happening there. Thank you.
Are we done?
No, we have 2 minutes and 53 seconds, 52, 51, 50 seconds. But I think that we've touched base on a lot of good stuff. A lot
Yes.
of interesting stuff. And I think we're good.
Good.
I think we can be done.
Okay. Well,
think it
thank you
works.
for having me.
Yes, thanks for coming on the show. And if people want to stalk her on Facebook, go. Anyhow, don't stalk her on Facebook. If you do, I'll track you down. I'll find you. But anyhow, yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been a good time. Anything more that you would like to talk about? You have the floor. You can tell people.
I think I'm good.
How about your thoughts on cranberry at Thanksgiving? How do you feel about that?
Cranberries?
Yeah, cranberries.
I like them, but not this year. I didn't get a good can.
There's nothing that you want to bitch about to the people. Right now is the time.
Yes, people are getting very greedy about their Christmas trees. We looked at a stand today, and for a little 3-foot tree, they wanted $30 for anything that was worth having, like a 6-foot tree, which is normal. That was 50
Dang.
or 40,
For a tree.
50, 60 bucks. That's terrible. So Christmas is getting very, very greedy, and I don't know. I think that I might be using a fake tree.
You might be using a fake tree. You heard it right here, folks, from Patty. Christmas trees, the prices are getting ridiculous. $89 for a tree? Really? Seriously? That's ridiculous, folks. $89. How are you going to survive
think
on
about
that?
Christmas and the people that can't afford that, and they would like to have a tree for their children.
I always think it's weird when people bring Christmas trees in the house because, like, all the spiders and all that stuff. They're just going to, like,
Do you have a fake tree?
I got a fake tree. It's
I
the
have
American
a fake tree,
thing.
but we also get a fresh tree. But maybe not this year.
Not this year. All right. Thank you for coming on, Patty.
You're
You are a
welcome.
rock star. Folks, keep rocking the free world. And thank you for tuning in to We the People, an American pod show. Peace out.